everyone, and welcome on this new episode of my masterclass podcast on healing wounds with the Osfour self-coaching model. In today's video, we are going to talk about how to overcome self-doubt. And also remember that by the end of this video, you will have a magic question that will be given to you. And if you can send me an email with the correct answer, you will win a free coaching session using the Osfour self-coaching model with me. You have the link below. And welcome back on this new episode of my masterclass podcast on healing wounds with the Osfour self-coaching model. My name is Sofia Osfour and I'm a life coach, a mentor, a master practitioner in NLP and the creator of the Osfour self-coaching model, aka the Swiss knife model. But in case you have no clue what I'm talking about, let me quickly introduce what is the Osfour self-coaching model. So this model is a model that I've created that is either a process or a tool. As a process, it is designed to transform negative experiences into powerful life lessons, and basically you have to think about this model as a washing machine where you take a difficult experience that you have been through, we put it in and you go through the whole process, and by the time you finish, what you are left with is the wisdom that this experience has to teach you without the emotional charge. And when you use the model as a process to self-coach yourself, not as a process, when you use the model as a tool to self-coach yourself, there's 4 basic questions that this model teaches you to always ask yourself when you are facing a moment of crisis, such as procrastination. This was the video that I just posted on Monday. And those questions are simple. What is happening? What is it exactly that is hurting about what's happening? What needs to change? And how do I change it? Those 4 questions are connected to a skill, and the more you develop the skills, the more you can develop your self-awareness. And if you watch other podcasts that I've sent previously, self-awareness is the key of everything, because as I always say, if you don't know what's happening inside of you, then who is supposed to know? Finally, just for you to know that every Monday I send a video on my YouTube channel where I choose as a difficult situation. Like I said, the one that I just sent on Monday was about procrastination, and I teach you how to basically self-coach yourself using the Osfour self-coaching model. You have also a free worksheet that you can find. There's a link below that teaches you the basic of how to use the model. So when you watch the videos on YouTube, you follow this podcast and you have the worksheet, you basically set up. At least I teach you here the basic, but if you are interested about learning the whole model, then you can always go on my website to find my coaching package. And every Wednesday I send also I post this podcast. It is also designed to support the videos, the worksheet, but I'm trying to do something a bit new now, and always try to add up some more information and knowledge so that really you have all the tools that, in my opinion, everybody should have. That's why I created this model in the first place. But there's also other information that you can have, and that's what I'm going to do on this podcast, so that you can always, the more information you have, the more you're going to become skillful in self-coaching yourself, basically. And that was the purpose of this podcast. Okay guys, so let's start. Okay guys, so let's clarify first, what is a doubt? A doubt is basically a state of uncertainty about a fact or a reality. Now the thing is that when somebody doubts themselves, what you really want to understand is, what is it exactly they're doubting about, right? So there's 2 types of doubts that we're talking about here. First of all, there's the normal doubt. What I call the normal doubt is that, let's imagine that, I have never danced in my entire existence, and I'm being told, oh, you know what, Sofia, in 3 months, you are gonna have to give, like a dance in front of like 100 people. In that moment, I'm gonna strongly doubt that it's gonna be possible for me to do that unless I train for it, right? So in that case, my doubt is normal. I've never danced in my life. So it's, this is a normal doubt, right? This one is absolutely fine because I know that, okay, if I train, for 3 months, it's not going to be the most wonderful dance in the world, but I think I can make it. Like, I think I could make something decent and, not make a complete fool out of myself. Now, the second type of doubt, and this is really what we're talking about right in here, is the one that really stops people from performing their very best, right? This doubt comes from people doubting their capacity, usually, but it could even go further to even doubting their own decisions, doubting their own mind, like thinking, their own thinking. And this one is the one that is the most damaging. Now, we want to find out first, where is this doubt come from? Usually people who doubting themselves at the core, of who they are, the decisions, the capacity, even the doubting the value even, I'm not sure, I'm not like, I deserve that, even though nobody's gonna like say this out loud clearly, but this is gonna happen at the unconscious level unless you work to be self-aware. You're not gonna find out about that. But anyway, we want to find out and understand where's this doubt come from. This doubt comes from this basic problem that many of us are facing, is that here we have to think the way our brain works. Our brain is a machine or computer that needs to be right. And so when the brain thinks it's right, this is when the brain is the most efficient. But some of us are experiencing very early on in life situation that could be potentially traumatic, where doubt is being put upon them, right? So for instance, when they were learning to do something, somebody started to shout at them because they made a mistake, and now the fact that somebody shouted at them paralyzed them, and it started to make them doubtful. People who experience a lot of situation like this start to doubt. They doubt because it's not so much that they make a mistake, is that more like the reaction that it provoked into the people who obviously could not manage the emotions. And so it creates a fear, oh my God, and those people in a way learn and internalize the fact that they are wrong in principle. See, it's okay for us because as humans, it's okay to be wrong in general, but when you believe and you have internalized the fact that you are wrong in principle, what it actually means is that you have created a distrust with your brain. Listen, and I know it can sounds weird, but it's really this is what we're talking about. You have created distrust that your brain can find a solution of your problem, because this brain is designed to find solution. The people who are experiencing a lot of doubt are people who have internalized the fact that maybe this brain is not going to bring me the solution, right? And here's the funny thing. We are the only creatures on this earth who've got this thing. Like, you would never see a lion doubt himself, or, a tiger. Like, an elephant. They don't doubt themselves. We only human beings came up with this concept of doubting ourselves. And the reason for that is because of the early experiences of our lives and the way we have managed to, the way we have been, the way we have learned to manage with our failure. So if the people who were around us were not able to help us manage and overcome the failure and just like emphasize the fact that we made a mistake, that we were wrong, so what it creates is doubt, and when you start to doubt yourself in principle, then this is when you have people who just doubt themselves. They constantly need, for instance, someone to validate them. Okay, so is it okay? Am I doing right here? Okay. On the other hand, you have people who've never experienced that in their life, and they're so certain that they're right, that everything works for them, you know. And the funny thing is that sometimes they're probably not even right, but because they have this belief that they are right in principle, so they basically they work very well with their brain, because they believe that, you know what, whatever is happening, my brain is gonna find out the solution for it. So very different than someone who is the opposite of that. So that's the reason, you know, people are self-doubting that much in principle. So this is the unhealthy doubt type. Now, how do we overcome that? Well, I have found here's a model, you know, that I love, you know, that it comes from actually Tony Robbins, but I'm just going to show you a picture of here. And basically what he explains is, which I love that. I love Tony Robbins. Basically what he explains is that, you know, we as a human being, all of us have 100% potential, right? So the potential is never the reason why we don't perform, okay? And then, you know, your potential, of course, you know, is going to trigger your actions. So when you have 100%, you're going to do some actions, right? Your actions are going to bring you some results, obviously, right? But the thing that really changes everything, you know, is the funny part, is not your potential, it's actually your belief, right? It's how much you believe. And so here's the part. The part where people are doubting themselves, what's happening is that because they doubt themselves, then they don't tap into their potential as much. So it's not that they don't have it, it's just they don't tap into it because they don't believe they have. So what's happening is that they don't get to have the same drive to act, and so then they don't get the same type of results, which just feed more into the belief that they're not good or they make mistakes or whatever. So just like a vicious circle, right? The more I doubt, the less I act, and the less good results I have, and so on and so forth, right? Now here's the trick if you want to overcome self-doubt, and this is the place, is that you visualize in your mind results before they even arrived. And so here's a very powerful thing, and there was a test that was made back in America where they took 3 different teams of basketball, and one team was supposed to physically practice, another team was supposed to practice but only by visualizing, and the third team was asked not to practice at all basketball. And so they let, I think, a couple of months pass or something, and after, I think 1 month or 3 months, I don't remember, they wanted to find out which team was the most, you know, I'd say, you know, I practiced the best and could really perform the best, So what I found out is that the team who physically practice and the team who visualize the practice were almost the same level. On the other hand, the one who did not practice at all, they were much lower in the performances. And so what it does is that it's interesting to know that our brain can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not. So when you are doubting yourself and you are, you know, trying to reach something that you feel as though you can't, but there's so much doubt to deal with, visualizing the result, right, and do it over and over and over until it becomes a reality. Your brain is not going to tell the difference, and eventually you're going to be able to get to the result that you want. This is for the little trick, you know, because listen, this brain is very powerful, but you gotta play some trick on it. Once again, you know, if I want to relate this to the model, and it's simple, is when you use the model as a self-coaching model, you know, basically you have the 4 questions. Okay, so if you doubt about something, here's a simple exercise you can do. Okay, what is it exactly that I'm doubting about? what is it exactly that I'm doubting about? Second, okay, what is it that needs to change about this doubt, right? And finally, how can I change it, or what do I need to change that? Those are, the 4 basic questions when you use the model as a tool that can really help you to really like zoom in and really slow down and see what is really, the thing that is going to change everything. Because sometimes, when it comes down to performance for us human beings, sometimes you just need to change one piece, just one thought, just one thing. There is an exercise, for instance, in NLP, where, you ask the person to see the problem. And often it's that if someone sees or, that, they feel overwhelmed by a big problem, often what's happening really is that they're picturing a huge picture of that problem in their head. And so there's a simple exercise where you just ask them to make that problem very small, very small, very small, and then push it in a corner, just as you would do like in a video, right? Because in our head it's like a movie screen of some sort. And so here's the same, what is it exactly that I'm doubting about? Okay, found out what it is exactly the problem, and I tell you, you will be able to overcome it. Okay, you guys, I hope you liked this video. As usual, if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, you're more than happy to send me an email. You can share this video, you can like this video, and all I'm gonna say to you until next week is peace, love, and light. Bye bye.